Now, back to day 4. We had a short little break there, about to go just before lunch. And now when you talk about guys that are really inconspicuous and sort of just blend in, it's kind of like this next speaker we got here. He's a really fun guy. I've actually seen him in action. Totally cool, very personal guy. I know a lot of you have been getting advice from him, and one of the speakers that I know a lot of people have been waiting to hear from, former instructor from Mihao. I'll give you guys, straight from the West Coast, my boy, DJ Fuji. Here we go, man. Well done.
All right, can you guys hear me? Yes. How's everyone doing? Great. I'm sorry, someone's whispering to me. I said, how's everyone doing? Great. Outstanding. All right, so first off, I want to thank Dream for putting this together because it's one of the most well-run just conventions as a whole, and I've spoken at the Pickup Summit, I've spoken at a bunch of different things, and this one's by far one of the best ones I've seen. So round of applause for Dream for putting this all together. And I want to thank all the other speakers because I've been in the back taking notes just like you guys. And some of the speakers have been giving me just some absolutely amazing content. You know, just in my own game, my own development. I see myself as a student, which is why, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, I kind of disassociate with that guru mindset. So if you guys are going to ask me at a later point, you know, when did you know you were a guru? That's not how I see myself. So just like all of you guys, I'm taking notes in the back, and I'm furthering my skill set along the same journey. All right, so not only do I want to thank the speakers, though, is I want to thank all of you guys for not only coming out here, supporting the event, and taking time out of your schedule, but making dedicating yourself to improving your skill set and improving your lives, and by association, all of the lives of people around you. All right. Okay, so today we're going to talk about something a little bit different. And as you've probably guessed by the title of the slide, I'm not going to give you guys a lot of like little techniques or methodologies or tactics. There will be some thrown here and there. But primarily what we're going to talk about today is how to actually get good. And there's a somewhat of a little known fact among the community that about 95% of guys never get good. And it never seems to resonate with people. It resonates with coaches. So all the guys in the back know this. But a lot of guys getting into this, and I was in your spot as well, we're like, oh, you know, it's going to be really good. In 6 months, I'm going to be really good. I'm going to go out, and I'm going to get results. But the reality of it is that 95% of guys will never actually get good. Okay, and that sucks. That's sad. So my speech today is hopefully going to change that. And that's the whole point of this. All right. All right, so let's look at some of the stuff that we're going to talk about today. All right, first thing, why fundamentals trump methods? Everyone wants to learn a method. Right? Everyone wants to learn like the system. I did martial arts for 12 years, and we always wanted to learn the method. I did karate, I did shoot fighting, like ground fighting, and it was always teaching the method. The method's great for business. Fortunately, the method is not good for overall development. So what I stress is fundamentals over the method. So who here's been to the gym? Who here goes to the gym? Okay, so if you guys have been to the gym, you know there's methods at the gym. There's like low rep, high weight. There's high weight, low rep. There's supersets. There's max OT. There's high intensity interval training. There's all these different systems, right? And it's always the same thing as in pickup. It's like, what system do I use? Do I use the crazy one, the high intensity, or the low intensity, or the one the bodybuilders are using? Which one do I use? And when it comes down to it, the guys that get results don't use one system. What do? They learn the fundamentals. So we're going to go over the fundamentals, and we're going to stress the fundamentals over learning an individual methodology. Okay, what you need to learn about workshops. All right, the guys in the back may murder me after this, but I'm going to give you guys the behind-the-scenes look at workshops. And more importantly than that, I'm going to teach you guys how to find good trainers. Now, you guys are extremely fortunate here because nearly everyone who's spoken up here is a great trainer, and I've seen those guys in field. But there's a lot of other guys. There's no certification process in pickup. So you can throw up a website and all of a sudden be a teacher, all of a sudden be a trainer. And if you're just starting out in this, sometimes it's really difficult to look at a website and say, is this guy legit? Because every website says the guy gets laid, right? Every website says he's going to change your life in 72 hours. So how do you tell the difference between someone who's actually good, or more importantly, someone who actually will be good for what you or where you're at, and for your individual path and your journey, and someone who's maybe a waste of time. And we're going to go over that. Right. The importance of 10 words in 3 seconds. We're going to do a quick drill. And I'm going to show you guys why 10 words in 3 seconds can make or break your sets. Who here's gotten flaky numbers before? You guys never got flaky numbers? Damn, that's... You guys should be up here teaching, actually. You should be teaching. So flaky numbers are one of those things that we all get, right? It sucks. And you get the number, you feel like the man. You go home, you give her a call, you get a voicemail, right? It rings twice, so you know you got sent a voicemail. You leave the voicemail, and the next day, no callback, right? So I'm going to give you guys a way to completely eliminate, I'd say about 95% of your flaky numbers. Now, there's always going to be that X factor, right? So she actually liked you, but her dad died the next day, right? There's always things that out of your control. But about 95% of the time, when you do this, you're going to avoid all those flakes. Right? How to guarantee success in pickup. This sounds like a magic bullet, I know. Except when I tell you guys this, you're going to say, no shit. You'll be like, I've already heard that. But the big question is not whether you've heard it, it's whether you're doing it. Okay, so quick ground rules before we start. First one, leave your egos at the door, okay? And the reason I say this is because the easiest way to absorb new stuff is to leave your ego at the door, and that's obvious. I want to go one step further and take this actionable, and I want all of you guys for the next hour or so, I want you to do me a favor. And I want you to forget everything that you know about pickup, social dynamics, male-female relationships, everything. And this is the same thing that I do when I'm in the back. Right? When I'm sitting in the back and I'm listening to a speaker, sometimes they have a different methodology that I have. Like Topo's a great example. Gone Savage, great example. Those guys are absolutely amazing, and I've learned from those guys. But we have different methodologies sometimes. But every time I hear them speak, I say, I know nothing. I clear my mind, and I absorb everything in. And after that, then I can integrate those elements to my game. But if I put up the barrier first, if I put up the wall first, that's when I block things from even coming in. Okay, so I want you guys to start with that. Second thing, questions. I'm fairly pressed for time because this is about a 4-hour lecture that we've condensed into about an hour and 45 minutes. So on questions, I want you guys to write down your questions because you'll forget them. So write them down, and at the end, we'll have a Q&A, and you guys can ask them then. And last thing, take notes. Okay, and I realize most of you guys are taking notes, but the crux of what I'm going to talk about today is how to get good. And part of getting good, part of that process is dedication. And so the guys that are taking notes, and more importantly, the guys that are reviewing their notes, those are the guys that are getting ahead. Okay, so moving on. Some of you guys are probably wondering who I am and why you should give a shit. And some of you guys aren't, but I'm going to tell you anyway. All right, so it's pretty cliched in this industry. I'm sure we've heard it before, where a guy's like, I wasn't always good with women. I didn't start out, he's like a 7-foot-tall Abercrombie model, right? And you're like, I wasn't getting results when I was like, before all this, right? And then I learned the system, all right? When I say I wasn't actually getting results, I meant I sucked, like really, really bad. I wasn't a 40-year-old virgin, but I was one step behind him. If I hadn't found this, I would have been the 40-year-old virgin. So I started off, and I was a 19, 20-year-old virgin, which is going along the same path as that 40-year-old. And I started off, and I was this super dorky Asian kid. Right? Like I got straight A's in math, and everything basically. And I always thought like that this is one of those things where you either had it or you didn't. And I was one of the guys that didn't have it. And so the whole time, it's different if, maybe you just don't know how to escalate, but you're popular in school, you're well-adjusted, you're kind of one of the cool kids. You just don't know how to escalate, so you just fix that one thing, and boom, you're the man, right? I was not that guy. I was the guy that I had never held a girl's hand at 20 years old. Right? I had never, obviously, kissed a girl or had sex or anything else. I think all of us at some point or another throughout high school had a girl who had a crush on us, even if it was a fat girl. I didn't really have that. So I never really experienced that aspect of it. And this was despite all of the things that I was doing to try to compensate for that. So I spent an entire 18 years of my life trying to overcompensate for all of the lack of social skills that I had. So I thought, okay, cool. I don't have any game, but if I get good grades and I sit at the front, the teacher will like me. And then maybe the other girls will like me. We all know that doesn't work, right? So then that obviously didn't work. So I thought, okay, well, the jocks, those are the guys that get girls. So if I go and I get into high school and I get into sports, I'll get girls. So I went into wrestling, which is arguably the toughest sport in high school, right? And I lettered varsity, and I was like, awesome. It's like 150 degrees in the summer, and I'm wearing my varsity jacket, right? Because I'm like, I'm going to wear this jacket, and I'm going to get girls. And it didn't happen. So I thought, okay, well, maybe it's that, it's that I don't have good fashion. So I need to amp that up. And so I was about to graduate, and I decided, well, I'm going to go to the Marines. I have a Marine uniform, And so now, how can I not get laid? This is the easiest shit ever. I've got a Marine uniform. I'm representing the tip of the spear in terms of the United States military. This should be an automatic shoo-in, but it wasn't, right? And every step of the way, I was overcompensating. One of the interesting things about the male ego is that it protects you. There's a self-protection mechanism. So as unpopular as you can ever be in high school, and I figure I was in the bottom 5%, somewhere around there, right? And the only thing that kept me from the bottom 1% is that I was an athlete. Right? And so, but I was a needy athlete. I was needy, I didn't have any social skills, I was awkward, I didn't know how to talk to people. So it doesn't matter how many accolades you have in any other area, you're still going to be unpopular. The interesting thing, though, is that my ego is telling me, no, your ego is kind of like your mom, actually. It's like no matter how unpopular you are, it still loves you, right? It still tells you, no, you're cool. No, it's not that bad. You're like average. You're not actually that dorky.